An independent editorial defense analysis focused on Australia's strategic environment.
The strategic calculus governing the modernization of the Australian Army is currently navigating a period of profound structural tension. It is a transition marked by a fundamental shift from legacy heavy armor toward a more distributed, autonomous combat mass. This pivot is most visible in the concurrent development of the Redback Infantry Fighting Vehicle and the autonomous Tactical Light Armour System, known as Atlas. From a systems perspective, these two platforms do not merely represent hardware acquisitions. They signify a doctrinal shift aimed at reconciling the limitations of a medium-sized force with the expansive geography of the Indo-Pacific. The recent successful field trials of the Atlas prototype in February 2026 provide a critical data point here. With its high-speed autonomous navigation and mature obstacle avoidance, the project raises a vital question for Canberra. Can Australia effectively augment a drastically reduced manned fleet with expendable, high-tech robotic surrogates? At the heart of the current capability structure is a stark trade-off between survivability and quantity. The decision to reduce the Land 400 Phase 3 program from 450 units to just 129 Redback vehicles has introduced a significant risk in terms of sustained combat presence. The Redback is undoubtedly a pinnacle of protected mobility. It features the Iron Fist active protection system and sophisticated sensor fusion. However, its high unit cost and the political weight of potential crew casualties make it an exquisitely valuable asset. From an operational standpoint, this suggests a paradox. The very sophistication of the platform might limit its utility, as commanders become hesitant to risk such expensive assets in high-intensity environments. In this context, the Atlas serves as a systemic response to the requirement for combat mass. By utilizing a modular 8x8 chassis and the Vantage automated turret, the Atlas introduces a layer of HOA look that can be accepted as attritable. It offers a way to increase the density of the force at a fraction of the cost, both in Australian dollars and in human risk. The integration of Atlas introduces a new hierarchy of tactical decision-making. Rather than viewing this 10-ton autonomous vehicle as a standalone weapon, it is perhaps more accurately defined as a force multiplier for the Redback. The inclusion of the 25mm M242 Bushmaster cannon provides a lethal parity, and it allows the robot to engage the same class of targets as its manned counterparts. But the true utility lies in the redistribution of cognitive load. The automated target tracking systems within the Vantage turret are designed to filter raw data before it ever reaches the human commander. This highlights a persistent constraint. The bandwidth of the human operator remains the ultimate bottleneck. As the Australian Army moves toward a literal maneuver doctrine, the ability to deploy these lighter systems via C-130 aircraft offers strategic agility. Yet this agility is entirely contingent on the robustness of the underlying data links and the maturity of the autonomous logic in contested environments. The industrial dimension further complicates the relationship between policy and capability. The construction of the Hanwha facility in Geelong represents a significant investment in sovereign manufacturing. However, the viability of such a facility depends on a consistent production pipeline. If the government continues to favor small, high-cost batches of manned vehicles, the industrial base may struggle to maintain economies of scale. The Atlas program offers a potential hedge against this fragility. Its modular architecture allows for a more flexible production model that can be scaled according to budget fluctuations. In practice, this creates a dual-track strategy. Australia can maintain high-end assembly for manned platforms while simultaneously fostering a domestic ecosystem for autonomous systems. Moving toward a hybrid fleet, also introduces significant doctrinal challenges. Under the current Defense Strategic Review, the emphasis has shifted toward long-range strike and denial. This raises questions about the traditional role of armored formations. The Atlas and Redback duo represents an attempt to redefine the Army as a land-based component of a multi-domain integrated force. There is a possibility for the Atlas to act as a forward sensor node, feeding data back to long-range missile batteries. In this view, the platform's value is not solely in its cannon, but in its role as a persistent, low-cost observer. However, this introduces a trade-off regarding electronic signature management. High levels of autonomy require constant processing and data transmission. This makes these systems highly visible in the electromagnetic spectrum. It highlights a tension between the desire for autonomy and the necessity of operating where communications may be degraded or denied. Financial considerations remain a dominant constraint. The reallocation of billions of Australian dollars toward the AUKUS submarine program has left the Army with a diminished share of the budget. This fiscal reality forces a shift from a quantity-based force to a capability-based one. The development of Atlas is in many ways an admission of this reality. The Australian Defence Force is betting that technological superiority can compensate for a lack of physical hulls. Whether this assumption holds true in a protracted engagement remains a subject of intense debate among planners. The reliance on sovereign intellectual property is intended to mitigate supply chain risks, yet the core components remain deeply embedded in global markets. Ultimately, the synergy between the Redback and the Atlas reflects a sophisticated attempt to balance protection, lethality, and affordability. The success of this system is not merely a matter of technical performance. It depends on how effectively the Australian Army can evolve its organizational structures to accommodate robotic wingmen. The current trajectory suggests a move toward a more decentralized, agile force. However, the limitations of autonomous navigation in complex terrain and the legal complexities of lethal AI continue to present hurdles. The future of Australian land power may not be defined by a single platform, but by the resilience of the network connecting the manned fortress to its autonomous outriders. This leaves the defense establishment at a strategic crossroads, weighing the reliability of proven heavy armor against the scalable but unproven potential of an autonomous future.